You can either use your personal credit to come in and buy real estate, or you can use business credit. In fact, some of the most sophisticated, affluent business owners, they themselves have never established adequate business credit. Those who establish business credit win. The biggest problem is that most people aren't even taught conforming lending in school, so they don't have any idea how to go in and use business credit. In fact, some of the most sophisticated, some of the most affluent business owners, they themselves have never established adequate business credit. Those who establish business credit win, because in scale, you have the ability to grow and leverage another line of credit outside of your own personal income. And here's the problem with your own personal income. Let's go through some pros, some cons. I'm going to explain to you how to set up business credit. Instead of just telling you, hey, you need business credit, let's explain to you guys exactly how to go in and take advantage of setting up business credit, and then what you're going to be able to utilize. Because you could buy automobiles, write off 100% of them. You can do houses, you can do real estate, you can do multifamily. Let's take a look here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when we come in and you establish business credit, I remember back in the 1990s when I first started back in the construction industry and I just left multi-level marketing, my credit was trashed. And for a lot of people that either, one, their debt to income ratio is bad, or if they have no credit at all, that's bad credit because you have no leverage to be able to go out and buy real estate. If you've exhausted your resources and you've maxed out all your credit cards, meaning you have bad credit or you haven't paid stuff on your personal credit, building business credit will give you a second line of resources to be able to go out and scale into real estate. When people tell me that they don't have money, I sit back and I scratch my head and I said, the only reason you don't have money is because you don't know what you don't know. And one of the things that you don't know is how to go out and build business credit. And so back in the 90s, when I had horrible credit, I had a 460 credit score when I got into multi-level marketing, but yet I was able to get into real estate, both residential and commercial real estate, because I went through these steps, ladies and gentlemen. These are the steps you need to be able to facilitate to be able to create a real business that you can start leveraging for business lines of credit, which stands on its own 2 feet outside of your personal line of credit. Now, if you go in, you're getting large commercial loans, they're going to ask you to back the loan, right? They're going to ask you to collateralize that loan and be able to be a guarantor on that loan. And so you'll get cusped at a certain point. But to build basic lines of credit, you can go out and build credibility and establish business lines of credit immediately. And so I remember not being able to go out and buy an automobile because of how bad my credit was when I first started. And when I got into real estate and I started making some money in my business, I wanted to go out and buy myself a personal home, not just a personal home, but I wanted to be able to go out and purchase homes for investments and buildings for investments. But with my personal credit at that point in time, I still hadn't finished fixing it. Even though we were paying debt off and trying to repair our credit, there was a lag time to be able to get some of this stuff shaken off your credit. And when you have that many lines of bad credit and you've went through unfortunate circumstances, those people went through divorces, foreclosures, through bankruptcies, whatever you may have gone through, you can go out and establish business lines of credit that stand on their own 2 feet. And this is how you do it. When you go in, you have to have a real business name that's registered with a state corporation commission. So it doesn't matter what state you're in, you have to register that entity with the state corporation commission. So if you're going to do a limited partnership, if you're going to do a corporation, if you're going to do an LLC, whatever type of entity that you're going to do, you need to have that entity registered. Now, what I like about LLCs in real estate specifically is that with LLCs, you can quick claim real estate from one LLC to another LLC or another business without incurring taxes on the real estate for natural growth. Now, and what I mean by that is if you buy it under a corporation, when you move that piece of real estate, even if you're moving it from one of your own entities to another entity, you have to incur the tax liability of what the value of that asset is in that moment. And so if you don't want to ever have tax liability moving real estate within your own entities, just create them in an LLC. And people ask, well, why would you want to move entities from entities in your own LLCs? Well, for sake of example, I'll have a land LLC that I purchased land under, and when I'm ready to develop it, I don't want it to create liability on all the other land I own. So I'll move that land into a development LLC where I can go out and actually build the asset, or a single entity LLC. And that way, when I'm reducing my risk, when I'm purchasing stuff, I can go in and move that LLC from one LLC into another to mitigate risk and ultimately have asset protection on my entities. Now, when you go in and you register that entity with the state corporation commission, now it's registered, you have a real company, but you have to get an employer's identification number. It takes about 15 minutes. You go to irs.gov, you register all your information, you put in all your business name, your address, whoever the registered agent is for that business. You can either hire a third-party registered agent if you don't want your name on it, which is what we typically do, or you can go and put your personal information as the registered agent. agent. The registered agent doesn't have any legal recourse on your business. All they are is the registered agent saying that, hey, I live in this state, I work in this state, and this business is here in this state. But they don't assign on any bank accounts. The thing that gives them, that limits their ability to do anything is your operation agreements. That's item number 3. So if you go in, the third item you need is you need operation agreements, because without operating agreements, you can't get a bank account. And so you can get standard operating agreements. A lot of times when we set up general LLCs, I use the exact same operating agreements, just change the entity name. And that way it actually structures things in a fashion where you can duplicate them quick, right? You can have multiple LLCs. Because if I'm building multifamily, I'm building a 4-plex, a 12-unit, an 8-unit, a 15-unit, whatever I'm building, it doesn't matter. I have the ability to go in and just utilize the same LLC, because the same parameters are going to hold true for one LLC to the next if you are the sole owner. Now, if you're doing partnerships and you have partners in it, that's different. That changes the game. But my recommendation is, before you start building business credit with partners, build business credit for yourself first. So these are single entity LLCs that you'll go in and you'll take advantage of building business credit for yourself independently, okay? So one of the big things is getting those operation agreements. Now, you may pay a will and trust attorney to put some documents together for you, or just a tax attorney to be able to put together some operation agreements for you. They're very simple. It doesn't have to be anything very extravagant, just something simple that says, hey, I own the company. I'm the one that's the managing member of this company. I'm liable for taxes, and you put yourself in there, or you could put it under a trust. So you don't even have to have yourself as the actual managing member. You can create layers and depths. You could even create layers and depths where you have an LLC be the managing member of that LLC, and you're not even on there. You might just be the registered agent or not. And your name doesn't even have to appear on there. But in the operating agreements, it has a line in there that says that ultimately you are the decision maker for that entity. And so that allows you to go to the bank, which is item number 4. Now you can go to the bank and you can create a bank account with that LLC name. And so one of the things that you'll want to do is take your operating agreement, your EIN number, and your personal ID, and now you set up a bank account. Now, once you do that, the bank is going to ask you what you need for that company. And the banks get commissioned for giving lines of credit out. If you've ever been in the bank line, they'll ask you, what are you here for today? And you say a deposit. And then you get to the window, you do your deposit, you get your cash, and they say, hey, you qualify for a business line of credit today, or hey, you qualify for another bank account. You guys ever been at the bank and they actually tell you that you qualify for something? And it's usually something that it's a service that they're selling you on, and that service is something that makes the bank money. And what makes the bank money is handing out extended lines of credit to new business owners. So when you're a new business owner, you set up that bank account, the first place where you start getting your business lines of credit, instead of saying no, because that's what 99% of people do, right? When they're being sold something, they sit back and go, oh no, not right now, because you just don't know. And when you don't know what you don't know, you tell them, well, I don't really need that right now. Or no, I'm good right now. I just need my checking account, right? I just need to open up a bank account and I'm good, right? But you're not even really paying attention and listening to what they're soliciting to you, because they're soliciting to you business lines of credit. And when you get that business line of credit, as small as it might be a $5,000 business line of credit, it might be a $10,000 business line of credit when you first open up your account, but it's free money, guys. And it not only is it free money, it's expandable capital that you can build your business with, and you can extend your credit so that you could go out and start making more money. Now, here's the positive attribute to this, is that once you have that business line of credit, what you do is you go in and now you start utilizing it every month. You spend on it whatever it takes, whatever the expenses are. So if you have advertising costs every month, like we do a lot of social media marketing, we'll pay Meta, we'll pay AdWords, we'll pay YouTube and Instagram off of those credit cards. We'll go in, if we have supplies, paper, these little yellow notebook tablets, whatever we have, we'll put it on that credit card, and then we'll just pay it off with the revenue it generates every single month. Now, once you do that, you can go in with that employer identification number and you can start purchasing stuff. And here's what's funny about people in business is that they'll go out and, there's an agricultural law that says that if you buy a vehicle that weighs over 10,000 pounds or 9,000 pounds, I don't know the exact poundage, but if a farm equipment, if was an agricultural rebate when you bought tractors, and you get a tax deduction on it. So they just put the weight of what that equipment needs to be, including single-family residential vehicles, your personal vehicles that you're using for your personal use. And so you could go out and buy like a big Hummer, or you can go out and buy a big diesel truck, and it will constitute for that, because it falls under the agricultural rules. But how about this? Have you ever thought about this? Instead of just being able to write off those big giant vehicles, why not be able to write off any vehicle? Like, I think it's crazy that you would just have to go out and buy a big giant vehicle. Like, I have a big giant truck, but we have big giant tractors and we got big giant equipment that we have to pull sometimes. And so I need a big giant truck in case one of my work trucks goes down. But for most average domestic people, you don't need a big giant truck. Why would you go buy a big giant truck to be able to write it off when you could just buy a regular domestic vehicle? And so if you have a business line of credit, you can go in and buy a Jeep. You can go buy a little Volkswagen. You can go buy a little BMW, a little Mercedes, and have it owned by the business. And then instead of just being able to write off your gas, you could write off the whole friggin' vehicle, all the gas, the insurance, everything, because the business owns the vehicle. It's a business-owned vehicle that's assigned to you. It's like owning a cop car. Like, the cop takes it home. He might even stop at the grocery store, but that car is written 100% off by the state, the city, or whatever it is. Just like Molly Maids. You guys ever heard of the Molly Maid service? You know those little tiny cars that they drive around? Do you think that that business owner goes in and it says, oh, I only write off the gas, or I have to buy a bunch of diesel trucks? Imagine if that stupid law was only available for big giant trucks and you saw these little ladies jump out with a broom and stuff out of a big Humvee or a big ass giant truck, right? Stupid, right? It doesn't even make sense. But yet people will go out and buy these big ass dumb vehicles that don't even make sense for them to buy because they feel that they have to exercise that agricultural tax rebate. You don't need to. You could go in and you can get a business line of credit, put it under your business through your business line of credit, and you can go take advantage of any vehicle. It doesn't matter what vehicle it is. You can go buy a damn Lamborghini, plaster the damn thing, and cover it and use it for advertisement. And if you use it, like, I just had a buddy that opened up a flooring company and he wrapped one of the brand new Tesla trucks in a wrap on it, bought it under a business line of credit. 100% of that Cybertruck is written off because it's purchased through a business line of credit through a business, and he didn't even have to use his own social security number, okay? And you don't either. Here's the big advantage, though. Now you can start using that same line of credit to buy real estate. And the whole goal, guys, is to buy real estate with your business line of credit. And all you're doing in the interim time of establishing that business line of credit is you're making yourself credit worthy under that employer identification number. The employer identification number is the exact equivalence as the social security number. And it stands on its own 2 feet independent of your social security number for the business. Now, when you go in, there has to be a tangible person behind the business that's backing like big commercial loans, right? But over the course of time, you can create an entity that has layers. And here's what it looks like. Like, we'll go in and we'll create a master LLC, and that master LLC will be the housing LLC to all these other LLCs below it. And that master LLC is like a flushing LLC. So everything down below flushes upwards to that LLC. But all these individual LLCs hold their own liability, their own risk, their own money, their own lines of credit, their own everything. And then they go up to a master LLC. Now, sometimes they'll say, hey, can we see the tax returns for the master LLC? We say, sure. Now, even if they're looking at the tax returns for the master LLC, this company still holds independent of this LLC up here. This LLC might just be a managing member of this business down here. But each one of these little sectors of real estate, each house, each everything is going to have its own individual line of credit and its own ownership and management for that LLC, okay? So look, if you want to scale in real estate, you have to start establishing things right today. So if I never want to hear from people, I can't afford it, or I don't have the ability to do it, or my credit's not good enough, or my debt to income ratio isn't good enough. For those people that are knowing and not executing is ignorance. No one on here is ignorant. We want to make sure that we're educating so that way you can go in and execute the right way and start applying tools that you have at your fingertips to scale your business. Building business lines of credit is the only way to scale in real estate without 100% leveraging your own social security number, your own personal liability, and putting yourself out there. The business lines of credit will help you scale. You build one house your first year, you sell it for $800,000, you have a gross income of $800,000 first year in business. You make $150,000 profit, your next taxable proceeds is $150,000. Here's what's cool. Most companies, 95% of them fail in the first year. Those that don't fail out of that 5%, 95% of those businesses only generate revenue after the third year in business, meaning that they function in the red for the first 2 years. You sell a house your first year and make $150,000, you're in the top 1/5 of 1% of all business owners across the United States in your very first year in business. And now you can go out and extend your line of credit and start building homes on your business line of credit. And that's how you grow and scale into multifamily, into residential real estate through utilizing your business line of credit. For more content just like that, click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click and subscribe here on TikTok. Pound that thumbs up button, comment below, and we look forward to seeing you next time.